If you want to understand why, at weddings across America and the world this year, thousands, probably millions of people will be lunging their pinky fingers over their heads, you have to go back to 1967. '67 was the year that James Brown recorded a song called Cold Sweat, a watershed moment in the history of music because it ushered in the era of funk. Now, of course, you could go back earlier than this. Music styles are always being born out of what came before. But James Brown in the 1960s was funk, and Cold Sweat is the record where he first solidified this new sound. What makes Cold Sweat so funky is that all of the instruments making it up work toward enhancing the rhythm. Gone are the melodic chord progressions of R&B and soul which marked Brown's earlier career. Everything in Cold Sweat, the guitars, the horns, the bass, even Brown's voice, were used like drums. You can hear it. The harmonics are static, the rhythm is everything, and the drums themselves are doing something even more interesting.
I just started playing.
That's Clyde Stubblefield, drummer for James Brown, and probably the most influential musician of the 20th century that you've never heard of. The drum beat from Cold Sweat takes the classic 4/4 beat of popular music, which sounds like this, and adds syncopation, or unexpected emphasis at different moments, to make it sound more like this. This signature syncopation of Clyde Stubblefield defined the sound of funk for decades to come, but it had a far greater impact than that. This drum solo you're hearing right now from a 1968 live performance is the most sampled beat in the history of music, appearing in over 1,300 tracks, including
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad 'cause I'm brown.
Listen to the play-by-play, day by day.
There's a reason Stubblefield's drumming and the cadence of funk is so danceable. A study out of Denmark in 2014 showed that people were most likely to want to dance when the rhythm of a song was moderately syncopated. Too uniform and it can get boring, too complex, like jazz music, for example, and people can't keep up. The rhythmic complexity of funk, hip-hop, which is an outgrowth of funk, and EDM is just enough that your brain wants to fill in the gaps with dancing. In other words, funk music is in the Goldilocks zone for making people want to move. You can draw a straight line from Cold Sweat to Bruno Mars's 24 Karat Magic. It inherits and refines the same lessons that James Brown learned exactly 50 years ago. Just listen to the syncopation in the drum beat. 24 Karat Magic is essentially made up of that drum, plus a number of synthesizers that play the role of guitar, bass, and horn sections from Brown's music. They have the same percussive quality, the signature of funk. Here, listen. To me, Bruno Mars is a vessel, and 24 Karat Magic is a time machine. It travels back to James Brown, but it makes some important stops in the history of funk along the way. It's no secret that Mars is pulling most aggressively from the early 1980s, an era that many see as marking the decline of funk music before its major resurgence in the samples of hip-hop a few years later. By 1980, Sly Stone, Bootsy Collins, and George Clinton had largely finished taking funk on its cosmic trip across the universe. But the sounds of 24 Karat Magic come right out of the 80s, when funk came back to earth, sort of, and fully embraced the synthesizer. Everybody knows Rick James.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
But there are a lot of great acts that have been largely forgotten by pop culture, like Midnight Star. Those high-pitched synth plucks sound familiar? There are other great groups from this period like Cameo and the Gap Band, but for my money, the artist Mars is most indebted to here is Roger Troutman.
And every time I would use the voice box, people would be dancing until I use it, and when I started using it, they would look up and they would seem to hypnotize them in a way.
Yeah.
And it really works. Watch this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Video Soul.
This vocoder part at the beginning of 24 Karat Magic is a direct nod to Troutman and his band Zapp, who took the voice box further artistically than any other artist. Roger Troutman was the best of 80s electro-funk, using the same repertoire of glittering, shining synthesizers that give 24 Karat Magic all its color. This is what Bruno Mars and his producers have done. They've channeled a long tradition in the instruments and the beats and the energy of this music. And part of that tradition is iconic. Part of it is forgotten. But the good news is that 24 Karat Magic doesn't discriminate. It remembers the complete history. And hopefully, when you're dancing to it at parties this year, you do too. I loved funk music so much. That was so much fun to make. Thank you guys for watching that. There's a new Nerd Writer video every Wednesday, so if you click that box right over there, you can get more videos like this. Thank you for that, and thank you to Verve for sponsoring this video. Verve is a great service that pulls together a lot of great content channels like Crunchyroll, Funimation, Rooster Teeth, Tested, Mondo, Cartoon Hangover. Pretty cool that Crunchyroll and Funimation are in the same place, by the way. You can download the Verve app on your PlayStation, Xbox, iOS, or Android. And if you get the Verve combo pack at this link, you can get a 7-day free trial. And once you get that combo pack, I'd recommend that you watch Hunter x Hunter, which is a shonen battle anime that kind of deconstructs that genre. Really cool. Also on Tested, Adam Savage's one-day builds is awesome. The guy from Mythbusters. Really, really cool. All the shows are in HD and ad-free. Definitely recommend checking out the Verve app. Thank you guys so much again for watching me indulge my love of funk music. I will see you all. Oh! Ugh, I got this motherfucker. Whew! That was heavier than I thought. Thank you.